you know, when you hear about heart disease, you know, we know that heart disease, people in their 80s get heart attacks and strokes. Natural form of death pretty much when you're 80, but 70s. Remember, people in their 70s started having it, and then 60s, and then people in their 50s started having heart attacks and strokes, and then people in their 40s. Oh my goodness, I'm 47. And then people in their 30s. How many of you know somebody that's had a heart attack or a stroke in their 30s? Look at how many hands. That is a lot of hands. Wow. In fact, I talked to a cardiac nurse a few months ago. She said we had our first 27-year-old triple bypass.
Oh my God.
What is it about America and our double quarter pounders with cheese? They're not treats. They're a way of life in our society. So when can we do things in moderation? When can we do things, you know, have them occasionally? We're not talking about the things we do occasionally. We're talking about our real habits here, our real habits. And I think it all starts with our mental conviction. It's not just education. It's not just educating people, because a lot of people know that burgers and fries aren't so good for them. They know that donuts aren't so good for them. They know these things, and they still eat them because it's our society, right? And that's really a big thing. So what we're going to do is I want you to realize that if you could change that one habit of always getting a grilled chicken instead, you know, making that different change, and that became who you are, and you actually enjoyed eating that grilled chicken, you liked the flavor of it, just as much as the burger and fries. How many of you have ever been able to change your taste buds so they actually like the new thing? For instance, you used to love whole milk. Who here used to love whole milk? It was so nice and thick, you thought it was the calcium that made it so thick.
It's like that thick on it?
Yeah. Oh, and fat loaded to the top.
Unpasteurized, yep.
Oh,
yeah.
unpasteurized. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now they pasteurize that in there so that it's all homogenized, and it's nice and thick. And no, it's not calcium that makes it thick. 1 cup of whole milk has 2 teaspoons of shortening in it, or fat. It's not shortening, it's cow fat is what it is. And so, but when you change from whole milk down to skim milk, 2% and then down to skim, how many of you now you like the taste of skim milk? And if you ever had whole milk, it would taste like what? So we did change that, didn't we? And the thing is I think you can change that desire for double quarter pounder with cheese. I think you can change it. And when you change it, and it operates inside you that that's what you want. It's no longer, I'm on a diet on Monday and I'm doing the right thing. Do you see the difference? When it comes from inside, that is when we are diet free. And the goal is that we don't just have information, we don't just get educated, but we raise our conviction, our mental conviction to say, yes, this will make the difference. So when you multiply that out in a year's time, easily trading out that kind of choice. And if you traded out that kind of choice even daily, it could add up to a 30-pound weight loss in a year. It could add up to a 50-point drop in blood cholesterol level. It could add up to a drop in blood pressure level. It could add up to losing your blood pressure medication. I mean, can one habit change your life? The thing is, it has to be a habit. It can't just be something you decided to do starting on Monday. It's got to be a habit. And it means that comes from inside, that conviction to make that decision. Who here wants to have more energy than you already have? Yeah, baby. And who here would love it? Do you ever get headaches in the afternoon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We always think it's the job, don't we? It's the coworkers. One of the things that I have learned is that, and I've been a dietitian now for 23 years, and I never talked about water for the first 10 years, because I didn't really like water myself, I didn't really drink it myself, so I didn't really tell people to drink water. And everybody said, well, you never mentioned water. And I'd be, yeah, drink, your 8 glasses of water, whatever. But I never drank it myself, because I grew up on well water, and I hated it. And then I got to college, and it was that pool water that came out of the soft faucets. That was the first time I'd ever tasted chlorinated water when I got to college. And I'm like, wow, this is nasty. And so I drink juice and diet soda, things like that. But I never really drank water, really. And then they had bottled water, so I started drinking a little bit more bottled water. And then, so now I'm realizing water's pretty important. I've been doing a lot of research, a lot of reading about water, and oh my goodness, realizing how important it is. How many of you have heard drink water, it's healthy for you? We all know it's got to be healthy for us, and we've heard that. And, you know, people are like, yeah, but doesn't coffee and tea count? And, you know, isn't that water? And, you know, I ate some grapes, there's some water in that. And, you know, well, here's what's really interesting. Did you all know that when you wake up in the morning, you wake up a little bit dehydrated? Did you know that? Mm-hmm. We know that because that's our dry weight, right? And we know that we weigh less in the morning. I know, you get up, clothes off, you pee, I know, and then you weigh yourself, right? And we are slimmer than we ever are the rest of the day. But it's interesting, we're not slimmer, we're just dehydrated. But then we take our shower, and we're not a flower, so we don't absorb any of that water, right? And then we go and we have coffee, and there's water in that coffee. Well, wait a second. It's got caffeine in it, too. And caffeine, when you get done running a race, and you go to drink some coffee after a race, will that rehydrate you? No. What if it's iced coffee? No. It still won't. The caffeine is a mild diuretic. So when you drink that, you drink a cup of coffee, you pee a cup and a quarter. Oh, that's not so good. Here's what's happening. You wake up a little bit dehydrated, and you drink coffee, right? And now our body's even more dehydrated. And so then lunchtime comes, and why have water with lunch when you can have a Diet Coke? So much more tasty. So you have a Diet Coke for lunch, and then by 2 in the afternoon, man, do you have a headache? And you go and you get some aspirin and some water. Oh, the thing that we really needed to have. Interesting. Here's the thing, water is truly the thing we need to have. I would like, if each and every one of you would like to operate at your absolute best, your highest energy, thinking. They've studied airplane pilots. Airplane pilots, do you know that even just a slight drop in hydration decreases your short-term memory? How many of you have been noticing some short-term memory loss? And do we want our pilots who are up there, do you want, you know, is it that button or that button? I can't remember. We don't want them to not know, and we don't want to not know. Here's the thing. Every pilot, they are told, you drink water while you're flying. You drink water. They have two, you look when you get on the plane, there's 2 big gigantic bottles of water, one for each pilot. They want them to drink while they're flying. And it's a real temptation not to, because they don't want to have to urinate, so they temptation not to, but that is a bad thing. And don't let you do that in your job either. We got to make sure we're hydrated. First thing when you get up, you drink a glass of water. You can have coffee. You like me now, don't you? You can have coffee, but you need to be hydrated when you drink it. So while your coffee's percolating in the morning, down some good water, whether it's cold water, or warm water, or hot water, or room temperature water, or water with lemon, or whatever you want to make it. But down some water, if you want to put a little bit of juice in your water, which is what I often do to make my water taste better. Add a little bit of juice to it, not much, gives it a little bit of flavor. And that will hydrate you, and then that coffee will count towards your hydration. But it won't count if you're dehydrated. The studies that they did that showed that coffee counts was done on highly muscled, highly hydrated athletes. Sorry, most of the people in this room, we are not highly conditioned athletes in this room. Except for Jamie. So here's the thing. What I'd like for us to think about is water. First thing in the morning, it'll help you decrease headaches, helps improve. We also see links to decreasing our risk of breast cancer, decreasing our risk of colon cancer, also heart disease. There are so many incredible links because our body can adjust to being operating under hydration. Remember our kidneys and everything adjusts. And a lot of doctors say, they still dispute it, and they say, no, our bodies adjust for it. But it's not a healthy thing, and it doesn't help our immune system. How come some people have a healthier immune system than other people? Hydration is a 100 key, I'll tell you, thing in helping us. We're learning that our mucous membranes of our body, from the linings of our intestines to our lungs to all of our eyes, nose, all of that mucous membranes itself weighs about 3 pounds. And it's referred to as the forgotten organ. And whenever we take antibiotics, the live flora of that organ gets hit with a sledgehammer. It's like hitting with a sledgehammer. And that breaks down our wonderful immunity. Hydrating, staying hydrated is one of the key ways to keep the microflora in our body well hydrated and operating well. You'll see less sinus infections, less colds, less flu when we maintain a more ideal hydration instead of a more underhydrated state. So water's great. You know, some iced tea,